My mic has been muted this entire time. Sorry about that. What is up, everybody? Unbelievable here. Where were all the comments there? Yep, here we go. My voice wasn't coming through. I appreciate you guys right now. Here it comes. My bad on that one. So all that stuff I was talking about, you guys just totally missed it. Let me just sum it up real quick. This is a 10-team best ball tight end premium draft. All right, it's $20 to get in. It's a $10,000 grand prize, the ultimate tournament size there. And we're doing a whole mess of drafts over here. I'll bring up the board in just a few seconds here. I'm picking 10th, which is exactly where I picked last week. And if you guys remember last week, I almost had that perfect draft. So we're going to see how that compares, what my builds might look like, what players I might be involved in most. If you've never drafted over here at RTSports, well, do yourself a favor. Go to rtsports.com/Bender. That promo code Bender, if it's your first time depositing, you'll get a match deposit, 50% match, up to $500. So you're definitely going to want to go check that out there, get that deal, and then come into these drafts. I've got these Beat Howard Bender drafts. I do a weekly live stream like you're seeing right now, but we also have a number of different slow drafts with different clocks, 2-hour, 4-hour, 8-hour clocks. So you can go at your own pace and continue in on all of these drafts. So it's first round's almost coming to a conclusion here. So I'm going to have to bring up the draft board just so that everybody can see it. I will maneuver myself down here in the bottom corner. Shout out to Krish, Jen Bolton, The Last Air, Timmy Football. Timmy was the one who, scooped up that Jordan Love pick last week. Take the Cheese, Beantown, Bend Over. It wouldn't be a Beat Bender draft if somebody didn't make some obscene thing about my last name. So Bend Over, Robert Voitko in there, Brent Campbell cruising in there. Eskimo Brothers. Are we Eskimo Brothers, Brent? We might be. And then it comes down to me. So here we go. I'm going to just make my first picks here live on the show. And, it's kind of funny, man. I always like to give myself a little bit of variance here. A lot of the same guys keep popping up here. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to do what I really like doing at the wheel here. And I'll just continue on that front. I am a running back guy. I've always been a running back guy. I will not be shamed for it. And let's face it, running backs were the key to a number of fantasy championships in the past couple of seasons. So I like me some Ashton Genty. I've talked endlessly about Clint Kubiak and what his system does for running backs. Super pumped about that. And then I'm going to pair him up with none other than Omarion Hampton, the other guy who I love taking. I love what Mike McDaniel does to that. Now, that's not really offering me a lot of variance. These are two guys who I definitely take all the time. At some point, I'm going to end up drafting here at the back end of a draft and just half force myself to take some different guys. Today is not that day, though. Today is not that day. Got some guys here in the comments. Jeremy Brock, Bob Voigt goes in there. At DT2745. Yes, my voice is not coming out of your mouth. I'm muted. I was. Sorry about that. What are you going to do, man? Sometimes when you leave the tech work up to the guy in his mid-50s, well, you're pretty much just setting yourself up for failure, right? I'll have to, maybe if Jeff Power were here, you bring him in and maybe he could help me out and kind of handle the old tech work. Maybe Jeff and I, what I need to do with Jeff is we need to do one of those fantasy championship drafts. Those are the, bigger stakes than they are here. You know what? I like a little $20 entry. If you were listening to us with Joe Jacoby 2 episodes ago, Joe was talking about how he likes entering in these low-cost, high-yield tournaments, right? Because you're not really investing a whole bunch. I mean, you're looking at it over here. It says my name, Rotobuzz Guy 7. So 7 drafts in this Beat Howard Bender tournament, $20 each. I'm investing $140 right here into, hopefully getting 10 grand. Not to mention the fact that you're going to 5x your money if you win your individual league. So if I could turn around and turn $20 into $100 by winning this league, and then on top of that, maybe get a little bit extra gravy, I'm in on that. Jeremy Brock says, I gotta let me get into this here. Let me try getting in some of these comments, right? That's that chat. No, I don't want that. I just lost it. Here we go. This is where I get to jump in on some stuff here. And our good friend Jeremy said he got in the wrong one. He's in the other Beat Howard Bender draft that's going on right now. Yes, this one filled up pretty quickly. If you guys look for the announcements on a Monday, if you follow me on Twitter at RotoBuzzGuy, that'll definitely take it's a tough draft to get into. How about that? It sells out like immediately. So once I announce it, look for at RotoBuzzGuy on Twitter or Facebook. I've got a RotoBuzzGuy Facebook page over there. Oh, look. Speak of the devil, look at that. It's our man Joe Jacoby. He's in the wrong one as well. So well, good luck. You know what, man? We'll space it out here. We'll be okay. So yes, listen in for Mondays, usually Mondays. But I'll tell you what, like Mondays is when these guys at RTSports are going to post it. You guys tell me, tweet at me at RotoBuzzGuy. Let me know what's a good day of the week for most people. I've done now these on Wednesday. I've now doing them on a Thursday. I'm fine doing either one there. So it doesn't matter to me what day we do it, but I want to make sure that we kind of maximize certain things and give everybody, that opportunity to take out there. Tommy Gunn here says weed. Sure. If you got it, smoke it. If you got it, buddy, go for it. Why not? Maybe if you're drafting alongside me, are you in one of these spots there, Tommy Gunn? Because if you are, I want to know what you're doing, what kind of strain you're looking at, and Fozzie. Oh, is that Fozzie? Is it Fozzie? Tommy, where's Fozzie? Where's my man Fozzie dog? Fozzie loves weed. Look at that. I'm reading comments. I should be showing them to everybody here. Fozzie loves weed. We do know that, and that's okay. All right, here you go. Here's up for the discussion. At DT2745 says Achane Cook was the turn picks, in my opinion. And, listen, I totally understand that. Like, I totally understand why you would go for that. I'd look at James Cook and I say, dude's phenomenal, right? Saw 100 more touches last year than he saw the year before. We know Joe Brady's scheme, includes him. We know the fact that Joe Brady does not like to he doesn't like to throw the ball inside the 10-yard line. So it's either Josh Allen or James Cook who's getting that run. The thing about it is that it does come off a little bit touchdown dependent at times for Cook. I totally get what you want to do that, but you kind of look at like snap breakdowns. He's not on the field for mop-up duty, and we know that the Bills run some teams out. He's not on the field for all of the passing work. He's only on the field for some of the passing work. And in the 2-minute drill, if you've seen it, Buffalo actually prefers to use a guy like Ty Johnson in the 2-minute drill. So, we're going to have to see at some point, we're going to have to see where Cook's carries are going to kind of level off. Is he going to get the 300 carries, 300 attempts that he got last year? Or is it going to be more like a 250 sort of a situation? That's something that we definitely need to pay attention to. And as far as Achane goes, I like Achane. I do. I hate the rest of the Dolphins. And I don't know how you even like the Dolphins. I love the fact that it's Bobby Slowick and he's going to use a fullback. He's going to use multi-tight end sets. I definitely love that. However, like Malik Willis sucks at throwing. Sure, he can take off, he can run. That's not going to do Achane a whole hell of a lot. There are no receivers to throw to. So where are we going to go? Like, what are we going to use as far as like weaponry goes in Miami? Greg Dulcich? Malik Washington. So why wouldn't defenses A, put a spy on Malik Willis, B, stack the box, stop the run? Achane's explosive, but if they just keep playing to him because he is legitimately the only weapon that Miami has, I do worry about that. But I'm not going to sit here and say that I'll never take Achane or James Cook. I just happen to like what I see here from Hampton and Ashton Genty a little bit more. But awesome, good discussion there for sure. Our boy DT, I love this, man. Keep going with the commentary here. Great turn here by the one hole. That is Krish. Krish is a very, very seasoned veteran. I deal with Krish in a number of these drafts all the time. CeeDee Lamb, Brock Bowers. It's funny how CeeDee Lamb's really fallen. I don't know if people think that maybe George Pickens being there for one more year is going to command more targets. I feel like CeeDee Lamb, bread is buttered in Dallas on the CeeDee Lamb side. And Brock Bowers, they're going to have to line him up everywhere. And that's fine. If they line him up in the slot, they line him up out wide. If they treat Brock Bowers like a wide receiver, then I am definitely 100% in, especially in this tight end premium format, because there are no other receivers or candidates in there for that. Trey Tucker. Come on. Is that our answer? Jack Besh. So Brock Bowers, especially in this format, I like that. I like seeing him in round 3. I'd be very much appreciative if he kind of stayed in that vein. So it's coming up on me here. Might as well kind of dive in and start looking at some of the names. Who do I want? Who am I looking at here? Now, obviously, I'm starting off running back heavy. Do I really want to continue with the running backs? I'll tell you what. I like a lot of the wide receivers who are still sitting out there right now, and I do feel like I can build a rock-solid core of receivers off of what's not just here in this next tier. You look at the next tier, you got Luther Burden, Zay Flowers, Tedero McMillan, Garrett Wilson. They're great, absolutely. But there are also a number of wide receivers further down the list that I think are going to be very, very underrated. Very underrated. So now the question is what direction do I want to go? Let's see what my Eskimo brother Brent Campbell does with his pick here. Because you know what? There's definitely some questions as to whether or not I want to be the first person to take a quarterback. Do I? Is Brent thinking about Josh Allen right now? Would we want to go with Josh Allen? It's kind of funny. I've seen Josh Allen go anywhere from like the second and the third round in some leagues. I've never seen him fall further than the third round, which he definitely could right now. Do I leave him on the board or do I build off of there? And I'll tell you what, since I don't have any Josh Allen, and I don't, I'm going to take him. I'm going to be that person. This is the first time I've ever taken a quarterback first off the board. I don't normally do that. It's not usually a move that I like to make, but I'm going to do it anyway. And then now I got to find myself a good wide receiver who I really want, who I really like. Do I take the big fantasy rage bait here and grab Luther Burden, or do I have some confidence in some of the other guys who are sitting out here right now? Last week in this spot, actually, I think this pick, I actually ended up taking Rashee Rice. Do I want to take Rashee Rice? I don't really think I want to take Rashee Rice here. But I'll tell you what, you know who I'm going to take? Just for shits and giggles. Just for shits and giggles, because I don't have any of him, because I absolutely detest Geno Smith. But I'm going to take Garrett Wilson because he is going to be the number one target there. It's not Kenyon Sadiq, as much as we'd like to see him in there. And Adonai Mitchell doesn't command a boatload of targets either. Geno Smith is a below-average quarterback playing in Frank Reich's mid-level system that, might be a little bit out of date. But they're going to have to throw if they want to win games. For me, I'll tell you this. See, I'm a diehard Jets fan. Always have been. Wins and losses don't matter for the Jets this year from a fan standpoint. Now, from a coaching standpoint, does Aaron Glenn want to keep his job? Does Frank Reich want to keep his job? Yes. Does Geno Smith want to keep getting paid to play? Yes. So wins and losses mean everything to these guys. They're going to do everything in their power to win games. Me, as a fan, I don't care, because no matter where the Jets finish, they're going to have 3 first-round draft picks next year. That's more than enough draft capital to move up to get the player you want to get in your draft. So I'm not concerned at all about wins or losses. I hope the Jets lose every game. That way they don't have to trade, 2 picks to move up into a top spot. That's my personal preference. But I know that they're going to want to win games, and Glenn's going to want to try and save his job. And that just means that Geno Smith's going to have to throw the football. I don't know who he's throwing the football to, but there we go. There we go. I got a come on Howard from Bend Over in the chat here. What was it? What was it there, Bend Over? Was it me complaining about your mean-spirited name that you got there, or did I take a player of yours? I mean, 902. I don't know, man. That seems pretty early in the draft. I don't know if I could have even remotely sniped you at that point. You took Jonathan Taylor, Chase Brown. I like that start very, very much. Look at that, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, second QB off the board. I find that surprising. I'll tell you what. You know what? You guys let me know here in the chat also. I'd love to hear from you guys as well. Why does everybody hate Lamar Jackson? Sure, it was a down year last year. Okay. This is a guy who won an MVP, should have won the MVP the following season, didn't have a great year last year. Now he gets Declan Doyle as his new offensive coordinator. And for anybody out there, Declan Doyle, I mean, what was he last year? Oh, he was Ben Johnson's offensive coordinator. So he's bringing that scheme over there. He's going to be utilizing that, which means that you're going to get some great work here from Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, maybe even Mark Andrews perks up a little bit, maybe a little return to him. They signed him to that whacked out 3-year deal that made no sense to me, but who am I? I'm not an NFL executive. But why is everybody so down on Lamar Jackson? I'd like to know. I got let's see who's chiming in over here. I got to figure out where all my windows are. See, I lost that window because I don't know what I'm doing here tech-wise. Scott Kobe turns around and says, that's why, because of last year. Really? That is it? That seals the deal for Lamar Jackson? His performance last year was so disappointing that we have to turn around and bash him? I don't know. Oh, now Scott says he's warming up to Lamar Jackson. I mean, listen, the dude runs, and that's a big deal. That's a big deal. I mean, think about what everybody's saying about quarterbacks in the NFL right now, right? We're all salivating over Jackson Dart because he runs. We look at any of these QBs. What do we want from Caleb Williams to add to his game? We want him to do more running. We love our rushing quarterbacks, right? Kyler Murray in Minnesota this year. How great is that going to be? Because this dude rushes for like 40, 50 yards a game. That's the only reason everybody likes Malik Willis, is because he runs the football. So if that's like the fantasy cheat code that everybody likes, why, you tell me. Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott off the board there before Lamar Jackson. This is a little on the bizarre side. I am stunned. I really am. I'm very, very surprised to see this. There's Lamar Jackson. Good old Bend Over. Ben, nice to meet you. Appreciate you joining us here. All right, so now as it comes to me, because I'll tell you what, if Lamar Jackson fell to me over here in the 5th round, I just would have doubled up and done it. I definitely would have doubled up and done it. He takes Lamar Jackson, he pairs him up there with Zay Flowers. I think that is going to be an absolutely spectacular move. I think that's going to be a great situation for Lamar and Flowers. Just stacking Ravens in general, I think those two are going to be good, because I think Zay Flowers, he's going to be the one who's going to end up playing that, big flanker slot play. They're going to put like either, I don't know, Elijah Surratt or Rashad Bateman on the other side. And you're going to, when you move into the slot, you're going to move Zay Flowers in and out of the slot. I think this is going to be a big year for Zay Flowers. I've got him high up on my board, my rankings, which you can find over at fantasyalarm.com. If you don't subscribe over there, well, maybe you should. Maybe you should go to fantasyalarm.com/Bender. I believe the promo code Bender will take 25% off the All-Pro subscription. Get my cheat sheet, my rankings, the draft guide articles, all the fun stuff you could possibly need and want. All right, I'm on the clock here right now, and here we go. Plenty of really nice wide receivers sitting out here on the board. So where am I going to go? I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to go with, you guys might think this be a little weird. I'll tell you what. I'm going to take me some Rome Odunze because everybody loves Luther Burden. Everybody loves Luther Burden. Rome Odunze plays that big split end role in that offense. He's going to get work. He's going to get a lot of work. And then where do I want to go here? Here's a player who I absolutely, you know what? Here's a guy. Sometimes RTSports, you guys, you're hiding players on me here. Here's a guy who I definitely think is going to be fantastic in his new home. And I don't think I have any shares of him anywhere right now. So give me Big Mike Evans, right? He's going to be the primary receiver. I don't know what Brandon Ayuk is doing. That dude, like, I guess he posted on Instagram again, like something about how he fleeced the 49ers for like $50 million. Like, dude, you want them to trade you. They could literally just sit there and just, they've cut all your incentives. If they wanted to be spiteful bastards, you could probably just find a way to, just put you on some sort of list that doesn't allow you to play at all. And maybe they can find a way to get out of that contract the rest of the way. But, when they killed all your incentives, they basically told you that they're just not interested in you. And they're not interested in giving you a shot at all. So I like that. I like that very much. What do we got here? Oh, there's the question there. Joe Jacoby, will Jesse Minter change up how they use Lamar Jackson? No, they won't. They won't, simply because, well, first off, Jesse Minter's not going to have any kind of say in the offense. He's a defensive guy, and he doesn't want to deal with the offense. He brings in Declan Doyle. Will Declan Doyle? Here's the thing with quarterbacks that we've seen in the past. When a team tries to change the way a quarterback plays, it never really works out. You can't take these mobile QBs and turn them into pure pocket passers. Rarely works. You can't take these mobile QBs and make them pocket passers. You can't even take away the rushing option for a lot of them, right? You see him take off. Kyler Murray will scramble for 75 yards for a net gain of 6 yards. And then maybe he'll think about throwing the football. I mean, it's crazy how these guys just want to run. They don't see the open guy. They don't want to thread the needle, whatever the case may be. But that's what they do. And, remember when they tried to turn RG3 into a pocket passer after his injury? You got to let these guys just play. I mean, Lamar Jackson has been playing at the top of his game now for a number of years. And again, I think that you have to just let the player invest and work your offensive scheme around him. Declan Doyle can do several good things with the receivers, with the tight ends, with the pre-snap motion, right? He can do enough of that with the roster that he's got, that he doesn't have to worry about, Lamar Jackson, running, too much, not too much, but yeah, wrong phrasing there. But what it comes down to is, no, I don't see them changing his style of play. Not at this juncture in his game. Oh, who's doing that? Pull in front just turned around and said, going for the geriatric running back crew. So where is pull in front? Let's see. Who do we like? Who's the old RBs here? It's not Jan, it's well, Scadabo's not old. Neither is this team. Christian McCaffrey. Oh, take the cheese. Is that you? Oh, Brent is pulling front. Javonte Williams, David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift. Yeah, I don't know if they're geriatric. I love Javonte Williams. I really do, because this is a guy who sees all of the touches. I don't care that Phil Maffa got a carry with the first team in practice yesterday. Somebody posted that, being like, "Oh, it's Phil Maffa season." Javante's got this backfield. They're going to utilize him. They utilize him in the passing game. They're going to utilize him at the goal line. CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, they catch a ball in the end zone, pass interference. They're going to pop it in from the 1 yard line with Javonte Williams. I love the amount of work that he gets, that he's going to get. And David Montgomery could be on a little uptick here, right? Woody Marks, more of a pass catching back. They bring in David Montgomery. He handles the initial workload, and everything that I'm seeing here. Nick Caley and everybody in Houston talking about, looking at David Montgomery as a 3-down back, as an every down back. So I think if he shares passing work with Woody Marks, he's still the lead guy, right? DeAndre Swift is a guy who, maybe he'll lose some touches at that point. Maybe he'll lose some touches to Kyle Monangai inside the 10, inside the 5. We've seen that happen before, but Swift does a nice job for himself. I'm not against that. DT says, I really don't think that most people in this term and don't realize how much 1.5 PPR for tight end is important in these drafts. So it isn't in a lot of ways. It is and it isn't. For guys like Trey McBride, Brock Bowers, Colston Loveland, Tyler Warren, these are guys who are going to see high volume targets. Anybody who's going to be the number 2, possibly number 3 target on their team, then the tight end premium kind of means something. But if I'm being honest, man, you look at a guy like Kyle Pitts, and we still don't know what the run is for him, right? We don't know what kind of targets he's going to see. Tucker Kraft. Like, once you start moving further in, and some of these guys may not be, in a great spot for targets, might not be the way to go. Like, look, I'm looking at this. All right, so here you go. And I'll say this. Isaiah Likely. Like, I'll take him here in a tight end premium because I think that he gets leaned on very much, right? You lose Wan'Dale Robinson. It's like 140 targets off the board right there. I also like it for Sam Laporta. And I'll grab him here as well. Why do I like it for Laporta? Drew Petzing coming in as the new offensive coordinator. Drew Petzing turned Trey McBride into an insane target over there. But if you start looking at guys like Juwan Johnson, Jake Ferguson, I'm just looking down the list here that's in the draft. Juwan Johnson, Jake Ferguson, Mark Andrews, Dalton Kincaid. These are not high volume target guys. So I have to, I agree with you that you need to pay attention to it, right? But again, is it really going to be? So DT and I are talking back and forth about it. He says you could use 3 tight ends and scores a week in these. Absolutely. If you have those guys, right? You could do Trey McBride and Colston Loveland and use 1 tight end and 1 flex. Sure. Absolutely. But am I looking at, at the tight end position further down the list here? If I don't get one of those top high end guys, well, I just don't see it being as big of an impact. I've crunched the numbers before. Next week when I come back and we start focusing a little bit more on this, and maybe I'll have a co-host that'll enable me to, they can vamp for a little bit while I turn around and look at some other situations. But again, if I'm looking at a lot of these tight ends, what kind of targets does TJ Hawkinson get? Hunter Henry, Brenton Strange, right? You look at this, Cade Otton. Cade Otton, I mean, listen, you're talking about Zach Robinson coming in and using this offense while, and he's got all of these wide receivers in Tampa, right? Now he's got Ibuka, he's got Godwin, he's got Ted Hurst they just drafted. Jalen McMillan is still there. So you've got these guys, all these wide receivers, that Cade Otton's just going to kind of fall to the wayside. If a tight end's getting 50, 60 targets, how many catches is he really coming down with? And is that going to move the needle? So I disagree a little bit here. DT says he plays a lot of FFPC, makes a difference for the tight ends. We shall see. We shall see. I'll tell you what, like I said, I'll come back and I'll bring in some actual numbers here so we can just see what these guys do in a tight end premium situation. But I mean, listen, here we are right now, and we're through 8 rounds, and it's what, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tight ends off the board already in the first 8 rounds. So like, people are going for it. People are definitely going for it. Got to figure out what I'm going to do with my team now. How do I only have 2 running backs? I only have 2 running backs. I've got no receiver correlation there for Josh Allen. I'm kind of all over the place here with all of my guys. This is going to be a very interesting draft to see how it goes. Very interesting. Oh, good pick there on Kenneth Gainwell. Here we go. Chris is having himself a draft. Jahmyr Gibbs, CeeDee Lamb, Brock Bowers, Luther Burden, Emeka Egbuka, Trevion Henderson is a big upside pick. Drake May, Kenneth Gainwell. I love the Kenneth Gainwell pick. So we'll see where he goes with this one here. Caleb Williams, solid. Cheers. Good job, Chris. Give yourself a little extra correlation here, right? You got Caleb Williams and Luther Burden. You got Drake May and Trevion Henderson. I don't know. You take like a little Kayshon Boutte a little later on there, maybe go for a full stack. We'll have to wait and see. Jan Bolton, Lambda. Where are you going, buddy? What are you taking? Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott there in rounds 4 and 5. I'm stunned. I'm bewildered, slightly befuddled. It's an interesting pick. All right, as we kind of look through, let's see what do the running backs look like at this point in time right now. Oh, they do not look good. This is oh, look at these gentlemen here. Oh. I'll tell you what, it kind of messes with me a little bit to take Josh Allen. It's not a move that I usually take. I'm usually locking down wide receivers and running backs nice and early. I felt good about the top 2 running backs here, but now I'm looking at where I want to go. I think I probably shouldn't have double tapped the tight end position there at the end, but I don't know. I was hanging out with DT, making a good case for the tight end premium. So we'll see what happens here. I'm sure I'll be able to find somebody. I'm sure of it. Almost positive. Now, last week, I actually did the live stream and I used Andrew Cooper's best ball draft cheat sheet. And that thing was baller, man. I really liked that a lot. That was he had some good stuff going on in there. I brought it back to him and I gave him a couple of suggestions. I said, you might want to make this guy a little bit higher up here on the draft board, just based on what we're seeing as far as his ADP goes. I believe that player was Jadarian Price. Where did Price go in this draft here? I see him right there, round 7. Huh. I think it's probably a little later than he went last week, which is why I might have mentioned it to Coop. So who knows? Like, every draft is different. That's why I like getting a nice cross section of all of these drafts. I like being able to kind of dig through it here. Beantown. Oh, Beantown, is that you, DT? Are you the guy? Because here we go. I see a lot of all caps here in the group chat. A lot of all caps here. Who knows? Let's see. Comments. Anyone? No. There we go. Still the same stuff there. Excellent. Well, it's coming up on me here. And I'm definitely going to need to try and find somebody worthwhile. Now the question is who? What direction do I really want to go? This is not a good-looking group of players right now. Oh, would you look at this gentleman here? Oh, this is going to be disappointing. It ain't pretty. It ain't pretty. Waiting on Brent. Waiting on Brent. Make that pick. Jalen Hurts. All right. Well, I do need a running back. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to, for better or for worse, I don't love this player. I really don't love this player. But for the sake of this, if he gets 50% of the touches, he's likely the short yardage guy. He's the between the tackles guy. He's probably going to be your goal line back as well. So I kind of feel like that's a good spot for him. Oh, I am overjoyed to see. Look at that. Ba-boom. Chris Godwin still sitting on the board. Because I'll say this. Look at the disparity here. First pick of round 5 is Ibuka. First pick of round 10. So a full 5 rounds later. Now I ask you folks this. And listen, maybe there's a Tampa fan here who knows a little bit more than yours truly. But here's the question that I have. Last year, Emeka Ibuka, when he replaced Chris Godwin early in the season, he was great. He was a stud. When he went over and he played the Mike Evans role, when Evans went down and Godwin came back, and he tried playing that big split end role, he struggled. He struggled with top coverage. He struggled with just the position in general. So this year, what are they going to do? What's the situation looking like here in Tampa Bay? Who's to say Emeka Ibuka is that number one guy? You can talk to me about talent all you want, and I get it, right? He's got talent. So does Chris Godwin. But, for all those people out there who have told me over the years that, you can't put that back in the bottle, and this is great, this guy's great, and this guy's got all the talent in the world. If the scheme is not designed or set up properly for you, you could have all the talent in the world and you could suck. You could. You take a plodding running back and you put him into a scheme that requires outside zone running and pass catching and heavy pass blocking, and that guy just falters. All right? You take a wide receiver who's much more comfortable in the slot and you try to play him at split end. And he's not going to do it. So, when I look at this, if Ibuka thrives in the Godwin role but doesn't thrive in the Evans role, but Godwin thrives in the Godwin role, what are you doing? Are you going to move Godwin out of the position to put Ibuka in the position to hope that he does basically what Godwin was already doing last year? That's my concern here. So Zach Robinson, he's going to have a lot of different, pre-snap motion, multi-receiver sets. He does, he comes from that McVay tree. So, I don't think he comes from the old McVay tree. He doesn't come from the 13 personnel McVay tree, which is something to kind of pay attention to. Let me scroll this up here so that you guys can see it. Is this better? Is this better? Do you guys like this view better so you can see all the picks here? Or do you need me to kind of keep it down a little bit so that you can still see who's making picks and what else they got? I can move myself out if that might help everybody. Is that going to help everyone? Oh, that helps nobody. That helps nobody. That's terrible to look at. That might do it. That might do it here. So coming back around. Oh, look, I got my dog asking me to go out. If only my wife could hear the sound of my voice and take the dog out of here and put the dog into the bedroom or into the backyard, that'd be awesome. She's running the sink, so I don't think she can. So I'm going to mute my mic for a quick sec. I'm glad you guys didn't hear that. What the heck? What the heck? All right, let's see. What do we got? We got a little question here. Pulling Frank wants to know Stevens or Dobbins. So I'm assuming it's Stevenson or Dobbins. You know what? If I'm sitting here and I'm looking between the two of these guys, I'm probably going to take Dobbins before Stevenson, simply because the presence of Trevion Henderson. I mean, I know Dobbins is very much, an injury-prone guy, but just the way they utilized, RJ Harvey. I know they brought in Jonah Coleman. I guess maybe Stevenson is probably the smarter play. I'll have to go back and check exactly where I have in my rankings here. My problem with Stevenson is that, everybody's just kind of running the dude down. And at some point, they do want to transition and get Trevion Henderson there. I think Henderson's going way too high. But, I think that it's so it's too much of a disparity. Dobbins is going to share workload, but he was just, he was getting the run last year. He was getting the run. Harvey was getting work near the goal line, and that was fine. But that didn't even start until Dobbins was hurt. I'll tell you what. Why don't we get here? No, I wasn't the one getting yelled at, buddy. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Let me unmute the mic there. Look at everyone grabbing all their quarterbacks here. We got a little QB run. Isn't that special? Do we like that? Do we not like that? Where is that going to leave us here with the quarterbacks? Let's see. Who's left? Baker Mayfield, Matthew Stafford, Patrick Mahomes. Oh, yeah, there's nobody left. There's nobody left here. Jordan Love, Sam Darnold, CJ Stroud. There's plenty of QBs. The question is, when you're doing a best ball tournament draft like this, do you like going 3 QBs, 3 tight ends, and then all the rest are running backs and wide receivers? Or do you prefer to, do you only go with 2 QBs or 2 tight ends? That's going to be the interesting question here as far as where we go. Looking at the tight ends who are, still sitting around. Oh, there's some interesting stuff here. There's definitely some interesting stuff here. Very interesting. Oh, I know who I'm taking with my next pick. Oh, here we go. It's to me, is it? So I'm going to go with, here's a player who I think is going to be in a very nice situation here as the new number 2, and possibly even could be a top target, depending on what's going on with Alec Pierce's ankle. But Josh Downs, I think, is in a spectacular position for himself. And I definitely like that. And then, you know what? I'm going to take my second QB. I'm going to give myself a little bit of correlation here because I got Chris Godwin. So I'll take Baker Mayfield because, again, Zach Robinson, multi-receiver sets, throw the ball all willy-nilly. Why not? Let's see. What else do we got? Don't do it. Leave me Patty. Go ahead, take Patty. Take him. He's yours right there. Good job, Brent. Good job, buddy. I like Mahomes. And I'll tell you what, man, what I love about Mahomes and what I love about taking him in one of these like best ball drafts is that I don't really worry too much, especially in like this format here, when you've got Jalen Hurts, who you can run out there for the first few weeks of the season. Like, you don't even need to worry about whether or not Mahomes is going to be back. If Mahomes has any kind of struggles whatsoever, maybe they hold him back. With a week 5 bye week, they can afford to do that. Maybe you just bring them along slowly, and then come week 6, depending on where your record's at, maybe then you hold them out for an extra game. Or maybe, you hold them out for the first 3 weeks and you put them in for week 4 because you're going to get the bye week in week 5, and then you take it and move it forward here. Either way, I like this situation here. I definitely like it for Mahomes. And when if you're going to take a third QB, Brent, again, it's just a matter of of where you go with the third, because you could get a guy who has another late bye week, and then you're on easy street here. DT Mayfield over Stafford. Interesting. Is it though? I don't really know necessarily if it's interesting. I think they're fairly comparable. They really are. And I like Stafford, and he's got Puka Nacua, right? And he's got one more year of Devontae Adams. He's got his work cut out for him with all his tight ends. He's fine. But, there's a reason. I always kind of laugh at this, right? We take Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams are in like the 5th round, top 5 rounds of any draft. But there we are in round 12, and nobody wants Matthew Stafford, right? We were taking Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill inside the first 3 or 4 rounds of drafts, and nobody wanted Tua. At some point, you have to turn around and say the guy throwing on the ball is worth a little bit more. But is Stafford worth a little bit more? What makes Stafford in his current situation right now, what makes him that much better than Baker Mayfield, who's getting, again, I remind you, you've got Zach Robinson, who was with the Rams as their passing game coordinator back when Baker was there. And remember when Baker was working with Liam Cohen, and that was everybody was freaking out that Liam Cohen went to the Bucs and he was going to run the Bucs, and what that did for Baker Mayfield. Zach Robinson was all part of that whole scheme there. So, it's not always just about what a guy has done. It's also about what you're expecting a guy to do. And when you've got Ibuka and Godwin and Hurst and McMillan, I think you've got a nice spread of wide receivers. With the Rams, you've got Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, and you've got nobody else. There's that's who you have to cover. You have to watch some of the tight ends, but that's really kind of it. I think there are a lot more options here for Baker Mayfield. I think that this offense is going to be a very fast-paced, high-octane offense for Baker Mayfield. And then let's not forget also, they brought in Kenneth Gainwell. They got rid of Rachaad White, brought in a different complimentary back, paid him more than they were even thinking about giving to Rachaad White. He's going to get the passing work. Zach Robinson sent over 100 targets to Bijan Robinson. Now, maybe I'm not saying that suddenly Gainwell is going to see 100 targets, but if Gainwell sees 80 targets, that's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So I think that helps boost Baker Mayfield's value as well. The Rams rarely throw to the running back. They never do it enough. Right? How many times have we seen Kyren Williams has never really been a huge part of the passing attack for the Rams? And Blake Corum, again, not a huge part of the passing attack either. So I'm there. I'm there. All right, let's kind of figure out where we want to go. I've got 5 receivers, 3 running backs, 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends. Let's see what's out there right now. What is available to me? Not a lot of pretty stuff. It's not a lot of pretty stuff here. Oh, I might just make a pick here that I never make. I'd laugh at myself for actually making it. I really would. If I were watching me playing this and I watch myself take that player, I don't know what I would have done. Yeah, I know where I'm going. Come on there. Let's make that pick. Come on, Brent. Do it. You're not taking my guy. You ain't taking my guy. I know you ain't taking my guy. I ain't worried about this. Jonathan Brooks. Y'all know how much I hate Jonathan Brooks. Almost as much as I hate Alvin Kamara. That's for damn sure. Not a big Alvin Kamara fan, but I mean, listen, they haven't dealt with trading him yet. Travis Etienne, Travis Etienne. What's he gonna end? Is he gonna have that full role? Are they gonna utilize Alvin Kamara somewhat there? Does he get traded to another team? So I'm gonna go with him, and then you know what? I'm gonna get a little bit of some correlation there to Josh Allen. I'm gonna give myself Khalil Shakir. Probably should have looked at Dalton Kincaid, but I mean, he went all the way in round 9. So not really much of an option over there. But I'm looking at my team now. Genty, Hampton, Rico Dowdle, Alvin Kamara. What a weird running back room that is. Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield. My receivers, Wilson, Odunze, Mike Evans, Godwin, Downs, and Shakir. That's not a bad receiving core. I kind of dig that. And then Isaiah Likely and Sammy Laporta. I like my team better from last week. I will not lie. I definitely like that. What are we saying here? Sorry, I keep getting sidetracked here. Keep getting changed in direction. Oh, look at that. Thank you. Thank you, Andrea. I appreciate that. Good pick on Shakir. I don't love Shakir. You know what? I tell you what, my problem with Buffalo is this, right? Joe Brady, I think he kind of neuters Josh Allen. You know what we're not going to see from Josh Allen? We're still going to see the rushing yards from Josh Allen. We're still going to see the rushing touchdowns from Josh Allen. We're not going to see big 300-yard games out of Josh Allen. That's just not the scheme that Joe Brady runs. He likes the short, high percentage passes where he looks for yards after the catch. He wants Josh Allen to lead Khalil Shakir or Curtis Samuel or DJ Moore, whoever it's going to be. Like that's what he's looking for. He's looking for, get the ball into your playmakers' hands and let them do the work. Makes sense. But Josh Allen's got a cannon for an arm still, and I think that he needs that downfield passing. He needs that option. Keon Coleman wasn't doing it for him. Joe Brady neuters his ability to really look downfield because he likes all of these little interchangeable cogs, right? I mean, let's go to the Bills depth chart here. And just DJ Moore, Shakir, Joshua Palmer, Skylar Bell, Tyrell Shavers, Mecole Hardman, Trent Sherfield. These are interchangeable cogs. These are not like DJ Moore. I hope becomes the alpha. I'd like to see him go a little bit deeper this year. But Shakir and Palmer and Bell and Shavers, these guys are all short yardage guys. You might as well just bring back Curtis Samuel, for crying out loud. That's my problem that I have here with that. So, I think Shakir is a fine pick because he's going to get, Josh Allen will always be able to know that if he's scrambling around, that Shakir knows his tendencies well enough to kind of find the open space, right? That's always what made Travis Kelce so great for Patrick Mahomes, is that he could sit there and he could scramble around, but he knew at the end of the day that Kelce knew exactly where he would want him to be. So when you get that kind of a rapport, it certainly helps things out significantly. Let's see. Where are we going? Pass long Josh needs. Yes. I love it. So we're speaking in some baby Yoda here. Pass long Josh needs. He does. All right. That's the pick that I was looking at there. That's the pick that just went down. I'm very curious as to as to what happens there. Beantown takes Oronde Gadsden. Now the question is who is the lead tight end for the Los Angeles Chargers? Is it Gadsden? Is it David Njoku? I know David Njoku's had some health concerns, but if you had that much faith in Oronde Gadsden, you signed Charlie Kohler. Charlie Kohler is your inline blocking tight end. So you sign Charlie Kohler, and he handles that role. The pass catching role then goes to either Njoku or Gadsden. I have a hard time thinking that they're going to, for all intents and purposes, platoon these guys. I don't necessarily know. But I'm curious as to Beantown. Pop it into the chat. One of these chats here. Tell me why you like Gadsden over Njoku. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. Bump, 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 bump. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Beantown talking about the draft grades and the draft analysis. Dude, let me tell you something. I'm gonna pull the curtain back because there's a fantasy alarm button there also. That one doesn't work anymore because we just stopped doing it. I very much requested that we stop doing draft grades. Draft grades are the dumbest things because draft grades, I'm on the clock. Let me make this. Put a pin in the draft grade conversation here for a second. Let Bender make his picks. Where does he want to go? Does he need another tight end? Do I need a third tight end? Do I make that third tight end David Njoku? I don't really want to. So I'll tell you what. I am gonna grab another tight end, but I'm just gonna do a little. How about a little Kenyon Sadiq? How about that nonsense? And then you know what? Let's just add insult to injury here. No, I can't do it. I was gonna take Geno Smith here for the stack since I have Garrett Wilson. But I hate Geno Smith so much. So I'll tell you what, I am going to take my third QB. Baker's got week 10 off. Josh Allen's got week 7 off. I'm going to do a little something here. Take a little page out of Joe Jacoby's book. And I'm going to take me some CJ Stroud right here. Why is this part of Joe Jacoby's book? He brought it up on the show a couple of weeks ago where he said he likes to have, especially for these big tournaments, you want a piece of that last Monday night game. Because who doesn't love a little late game hammer, right? And if you have somebody, you have a big player, it's Houston Green Bay. Last year it was Falcons Rams, and Joe had shares of both teams, and that was huge for him in winning the entire tournament. So yeah, if I could have a little CJ Stroud, the quarterback of one of the teams playing in that game, I mean, who knows? Maybe Baker Mayfield or Josh Allen does a fantastic job and it doesn't happen there, but maybe that's also week 17 and maybe Josh Allen sits because Buffalo's got things wrapped up. Who knows? So I like getting that piece of Stroud. All right, back to the draft grade stuff here. I'm going to let you guys look at this draft board here. Draft grades are a gimmick. They're not a proper evaluation. What they do is they evaluate your team based on their player projections. And when you look at some of their player projections, Fantasy Pros or Fantasy Alarm, you may agree or disagree because the problem with projections are that they really discount guys who are coming off of an injury. They really discount rookies. But more importantly is they don't take into account scheme changes. And we've got 10 new head coaches, 20 new offensive coordinators, all taking over teams now. So the year-to-year data doesn't always jive and it doesn't work. Just because a guy did X in one coach's system does not mean he's going to repeat that. And that's the problem that I have with projections. So when you start looking at things like, Fantasy Pros, says that I've got, the 5th ranked team, you're going to think are you going to be comfortable with that? Like, I got a draft grade. Like Yahoo gave me a draft grade of D. And then, you know what? The thing about it is, and this is why I say all of this, because here's this side of the table, right? This is the analyst side. This is the guy who makes his living helping people win fantasy championships, draft better, be better fantasy players. All right. And when I see this, it's because people ask these questions. I'll get emails. I get hundreds of emails every draft season with people saying, "Oh, I got a bad draft grade. Should I trade this guy or this guy or this guy?" And people sit there and they blow up their teams before they even start the season because they got a bad draft grade. Again, you guys here at RT Sports and high stakes players, you guys might be a little bit more experienced, a little more savvy. But my job here is to take Joe from accounting, not Joe Jacoby, but any other Joe, regular Joe Schmo from accounting, right? And help him become a better fantasy player. And when he comes to me and he says, "Oh, should I make this trade because Yahoo gave me a draft grade of a D?" Like, I have to explain to them, screw the draft grades. Don't bother with them. They don't really, they really genuinely, they don't. You know what? So that's my take on it. If anybody's going to tell you that their draft grade was shitty and they should, blow up their team or anything like that, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, see, I'm seeing some comments here already in the conversation. Where is it? Well, we got some Gadsden talk here, but let me go to the draft grades here. Yes, draft grades, really meaningless, especially this early. 100%. 100% meaningless. And he agrees with me. Draft grading means very little. Don't believe in that, right? That's like, if you're sitting here right now and you're listening to coaches talk or beat writers talk, listen to the coaches. Don't listen to the beat writers. Beat writers don't know shit. Beat writers are guessing. Oh, maybe this guy looked uncoverable. Beat writers are guys who sit there and basically they're like the mouthpiece for the team. They don't want to lose their locker room access, so they fluff the team in the press, right? They speculate. Oh, this is going to, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. I want to know what the coaches say. I don't give a crap what the beat writers say, right? So it's the same thing with the draft grade. I don't care what the draft grades say. And people come to me, they're like, "Oh, Fantasy Pros said this and this and this about my job." I don't give a crap. If you're coming to me, let's talk about your team from a regular perspective. I don't want to hear what anybody else is saying because I probably, chances are, don't agree with them. Just going to put that out there. Putting that out there. Just trying to help. All right, here we are, waning rounds of this draft. And which way do I want to go? So here's my build here so far. I got my 3 quarterbacks and I got my 3 tight ends. Now, I could go more tight ends here if I really wanted to, but looking down at this back end of tight ends, I mean, look at this. A.J. Barner, Gunnar Helm, Juwan Johnson, Brenton Strange, Hunter Henry. These guys aren't moving the needle in tight end premium. Eli Stowers. They're not moving the needle. They're not seeing enough targets for that to happen. But let's see. I got to go and I got to see who else I can get. Are there any running? Let's see if there's any running backs here who I even remotely like. No. Ew. Gross. Disgusting. Very disgusting. Super disgusting. So nothing really great there on the running back front. Do I want to keep myself protected or do I want to just take a wide receiver who I actually like, who might actually do something? And I'll turn around and I'll say, yeah, give me Zachariah Branch. Why not? I think he's going to work very, very well for Kevin Stefanski's offense. And then I need another guy, another one, and another one, and another one. There really is nothing good down here either. Boy, this is sad. This is sad as we get down this far. So depressing. So depressing. You know what? Here's a guy who never gets the respect that he deserves. Injuries are always a huge problem for him. That's one of the reasons why he gets run down so much. But if let's face it. If Baltimore's rookie receivers Elijah Surratt and what's the guy's name? Jacoby Lane. If Jacoby Lane and Elijah Surratt aren't ready, who's going to be that other guy? It's going to be Rashad Bateman. It's going to be. Devontae Walker, we like him. He's a field stretcher. Somehow Rashad Bateman always finds his way into getting some work. Oh, the Dulcich pick. How far down was Greg Dulcich? I should have done that. 100%. Damn. Andrew wants to know, what about Coleman from Denver? Well, my problem with Denver right now is that there are just too many cooks, right? There are just too many cooks in the kitchen. You got J.K. Dobbins. You got R.J. Harvey. Jaleel McLaughlin's still sitting there. You drafted Jonah Coleman. Tyler Bidet, still there. So you've got all of these guys who are possibilities. Jonah Coleman's a plotter. He's a short yardage guy. He's not a guy who's going to see any kind of real targets out of the backfield. And I don't necessarily know if he's got the explosiveness to get you big chunks of yards. Could he be a touchdown vulture? Yes. Yes, he could. But look at that. They're legitimately gonna have 4 or 5 running backs on this roster at all times, and they're going to rotate. And you know what? I don't like it. I hate it. And then they gave Sean Payton another 5 years. He already had 2 years left on his deal, and they just signed him for a 5-year contract. That is very, very interesting to me. Very, very interesting. So I don't know. I don't know when it comes to Jonah Coleman. I don't have any shares of him. I don't think I will have very many shares of him. I just don't like the landing spot is really what it comes down to. I don't like the landing spot. Salud. Wrapping it up here. Last 2 rounds of our draft. And again, I want to just thank everybody here. The heavy conversation in the chat. Oh, Andrea also wanted to know, how do I feel about Geno with Garrett Wilson? I hate Geno Smith. I do. I think he's a bad quarterback. I think he makes poor decisions. I think he'll be good for like 3 or 4 games. And then I genuinely think that at some point or another, if the Jets are really struggling offensively, I could see them trying out this Klubnik kid. I don't like Geno Smith. I don't think he's a good quarterback. And I don't think Klubnik is their guy of the future. But again, my prediction here for the Jets, if you haven't heard it already from me, I've said it, I don't know where I've said it, but I know I've said it everywhere probably. I think the Jets have a good team right now. I think they're going to underperform. I don't think Frank Reich is an innovative, quality offensive coordinator who you want to put your trust into. I don't think Aaron Glenn is a particularly good coach. I definitely don't think he's a good head coach, and I think he's just kind of meh as a defensive coordinator. I didn't think that he did that many great things with the defense in Detroit. I think it was a nice move to bring Aaron Glenn home to the team that drafted him and let him kind of put something there. But yeah, I think what happens is that they underperform sometime around week 8, week 9. When is the Jets bye week here? Week 13. Maybe it lasts until week 12. Who knows? But I think the Jets fire Aaron Glenn. I think they promote Frank Reich to interim head coach, and he stays as the coordinator, or he promotes his quarterback's coach or something like that. And then what happens is that then at the end of the season, the Jets just revamp. New coaching staff, new quarterback, but you have everybody else in place, right? You've got Breece Hall signed to a 3-year deal. You've got a good 3, possibly 4 years out of the majority of your defense now, right? Garrett Wilson's signed on for long term. Like, you've got Kenyon Sadiq will be on his rookie contract. So you're looking at, like, all the weapons are still there and intact. And I think that that's, a good spot to be. I think that'll make it fun for them. But, again, it's just going to be looking towards next year. That's really what they're going to be doing. They're going to be looking towards next year. I'll grab a little Mike Washington. I'll check him out. I'll see. Maybe he serves as a handcuff. I don't like handcuffing in best ball, but we'll see what happens. I've got Ashton Genty there. So, it can't hurt. It can't hurt. Now, is there a final tight end who I like? How about this guy? How about standing in at 7'7", 487 pounds? Ladies and gentlemen, your tight end out of the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's Darnell Washington. Why not, right? They just signed him to a new 3-year deal, overpaying him. They love him so much. They love his size. And who knows? Maybe Aaron Rodgers is just like, yep, this is the direction I'm going, and this is it. So my draft is over. Everybody else's is kind of filling in here. I love this. Oh, more questions. I love this. Thank you. Does Mooney have a shot at a decent snap share? For the time being right now, yes. A lot of people are worried about Malik Neighbors, whether or not he's going to be able to make it back and be the guy that they need. Darnell's on the other side of him. If they had any hope of it being Darius Slayton, well, then they probably wouldn't have brought in Mooney, right? I think Slayton and Mooney kind of compete with each other for that receiver job opposite Malik Neighbors, but I think Mooney could actually probably, with the new system and the new scheme, maybe Mooney comes in. Maybe you got Calvin Austin as the slot receiver. Malachi Fields jumps into the mix. I mean, to me, Mooney isn't, he's the last round pick. And you just kind of, you hope for the best. There's really not a hell of a lot out there right now. So doesn't surprise me. Fun draft, guys. Let me shout it out again here. Get to the top of this board. Krish, Jan Bolton, whoever the owner of The Last Heir is, Chimmer, Take the Cheese, Beantown, Bend Over, Robert Voitko, Brent Campbell. Thank you all for being here tonight. Always appreciate you guys joining me here on these drafts. At some point, I just signed up. So if you guys are looking for the slow drafts at all, again, rtsports.com/bender. That'll give you all the scheduled drafts for this tournament, slow drafts and real-time drafts. I'm in the 2-hour, the 4-hour, and the 8-hour drafts that are probably listed right there. I'm just waiting for them to kind of start up. And I'll be doing these live streams here. Again, let me know at RotoBuzzGuy on social media if you think that there's a better night to do these than on a Thursday. And we'll see. Again, big shout out to the guys over here at RTSports.com. Love it. Absolutely love everything that they bring to the table here. I love the new site. I love all the new look that they got going on here. I'm not going to say it's about time, but maybe it's about time. I like it. All the tech guys over at RT. Maybe if I see you at the Fantasy Sports and Gaming Association, I buy you guys drinks, right? How about that? So wrapping things up here on a beautiful Thursday night. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I should go over every team individually for a couple of minutes each. I would love to, DT. I would. But alas, it's been a very long day. Maybe what I'll do is I'll start writing some of these up here. Because, I mean, again, here's the thing. I could go through each team individually here and try and figure it out. But, so many different builds. I'm not going to sit here and tell somebody that they made the wrong move or they did the wrong thing. What happens if I win the contest? Do you get to keep the money? I do get to keep the money because this is my money that I'm putting into these contests. Like it's my name on this contest, but I am paying my $20 entry fee for each one of these that I do. So yeah, I get to keep it. I get to keep it because I don't work for RT Sports. This is a Beat Howard Bender draft, and I promote the crap out of it. But yeah, that's what happens. All right, Mr. Irrelevant becomes Jake Tonjes, and that's my cue to say thank you very much, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure. I appreciate all the questions. I appreciate all the comments that we have. If you guys want to reach me, you want to talk to me at all, listen, like I said, I'm always in the Fantasy Alarm Discord. You can also tweet at me at RotoBuzzGuy. You can email me at rotobuzzguy@gmail.com. More than happy to go through it. But that's going to do it for us here today on the show. So I thank you all for joining us here. And I got to say, it is time to go.